Imagine going from 49ers linebacker to living on the streets. A body discovered at a homeless camp in Los Angeles' Willowbrook neighborhood has been identified as former NFL player Kevin Johnson. They suited up on Sundays, signed multi-million-dollar contracts, and had whole stadiums roaring their names. Look at this play, pumps twice and dumps it off to Henry. Thomas Henry inside the butt for some NFL legends. The final whistle blew on their careers and everything they owned. The mansions, the luxury cars, the bank accounts, and their dignity. Post-career struggles led to bankruptcy and almost drove one to murder. Data shows a shocking 78% of former NFL players face bankruptcy or extreme financial stress within 2 years of retiring. With the football season completely stalled out, I have zero income coming in right now. Absolutely zero. And for a select few, things got incredibly worse than that. Hit like and subscribe as we look at NFL heroes who lost everything, left with nothing but the cold pavement. Let's kick things off with Kevin Johnson. This shocking story dominated headlines recently, and it is easily the most tragic on our list. Kevin Johnson. His name might not immediately jump out to casual football fans, but his tragic end in January 2026 is something no gridiron fan should ever forget. Selected in the 4th round out of Texas Southern by New England back in 1993, Johnson bounced around from the Patriots to Minnesota and Oakland before finding a home with the Eagles. He recorded 43 tackles, including 7 sacks, and took a fumble to the house during his 2-year Philly stint. Following his NFL run, he played arena football for both the Orlando Predators and the LA Avengers. This was an elite athlete, a warrior who once competed on the grandest stage in American sport. Tragically, former defensive lineman Kevin Johnson was found dead on a Wednesday morning at a Los Angeles homeless camp. He was 55. Deputies found Johnson in the 1300 block of East 120th Street after responding to an unconscious man call before 8 a.m. He was sadly pronounced dead right at the scene. The coroner ruled his death a homicide, citing blunt force trauma to the head alongside multiple stab wounds. Those close to Johnson told the local ABC station that he likely suffered from CTE, a severe brain disease triggered by repeated head trauma. His son revealed to NBC Los Angeles that his father chose the streets at times, despite having family who welcomed him. His son Brandon shared that his dad was more than just a man in a camp. He was a dad, a loyal friend, and a family member who loved everyone. He refused to let that encampment define his father's final legacy. Investigators revealed that 4 separate homicides all took place near that 1300 block of East 120th Street over just a few months. The LA County Sheriff's Homicide Unit is actively investigating whether a single serial killer is responsible for all 4 of these brutal murders. As of June 2026, no suspect has been identified. An NFL veteran with 4 pro franchises on his resume, dead at just 55 inside a homeless encampment. That is where this tragic story begins. Hit like, because it only gets tougher from here. Johnson is not the first NFL player to literally live on the streets after his career ended. Meet Terry Tatalo. Terry Tatalo was a highly respected pro linebacker who spent 9 years in the NFL, battling for the Eagles, 49ers, Lions, and Dolphins. Drafted by the San Francisco 49ers, he reached the absolute pinnacle, winning a Super Bowl with them in 1981. A true Super Bowl champion, one of the very first Samoan athletes drafted into the NFL, before the heavy hits finally caught up with him. Severe concussion damage ended his 9-year career, and he tragically fell straight into homelessness. His post-football life became a dark road of broken marriages and a brutal methamphetamine addiction, leaving the former linebacker completely homeless. Concussions cut his career short, but did they directly cause him to lose his home? Those close to him strongly suspect that Terry's repeated head impacts on the gridiron left him with permanent brain damage. Ultimately, this highly praised athlete went from signing autographs for adoring fans to living under a freezing freeway. The concrete tunnel he called home became a tragic metaphor and a daily obstacle. When a documentary crew eventually tracked Tatalo down and got him medical help, the results were devastating. MR has revealed multiple brain lesions linked to head trauma. Looking back on his journey, Tatalo admitted, "Getting old, things are breaking down, but it's on me, you know? Maybe football sped it up," he told reporters flatly. "I am no role model. I just wanted to play football." When his former teammates learned of his desperate situation, they called for help. Backed by his former UCLA teammate Brent Boyd, legendary head coach Dick Vermeil, and the NFL Players Association, he rescued his life and now works with special needs kids. A championship ring one decade, a freeway tunnel the next. Talk about a brutal fall from grace. Vince Young. For these athletes, financial ruin rarely comes from a single punch. It is 1,000 self-inflicted cuts, as you and I will see. And very few stories illustrate that exact road quite like Vince Young. In 2006, the Tennessee Titans grabbed him 3rd overall. With the 3rd pick in the 2006 NFL Draft, the Titans select Vince Young. And that selection carried a massive price tag, a 6-year deal worth $58 million, with $26 million guaranteed. At his peak during the 2007 season, Vince pulled in over $13 million a year. Off the field, he secured $30 million in sponsorships with major brands like Reebok, Madden NFL, and Campbell's. By any logical metric, he was set for life. Except, he really was not. Young had spending habits that defy logic, like burning $5,000 weekly at restaurants, and once dropping $15,000 on a single dinner. He even purchased every single seat on a commercial flight just to get some privacy. Yes, every seat. But the worst damage actually came from his inner circle. Young soon discovered fake signatures and ghost investments and massive deals he never authorized, like a $600,000 payout to a ghost firm. By January 2014, he filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, declaring assets under $1 million against astronomical debts reaching up to $10 million. A player who once cleared $13 million a season was now scraping by, claiming only $500,000 to his name. Recent reports suggest Vince Young's net worth sits at around $400,000, just $400,000 left from $65 million. That is not just a setback. That is a total financial massacre. Following his retirement from the NFL, Young found work at the University of Texas, and in 2021, they appointed him as an athletic department special assistant. A modest recovery, but miles away from the wealth he once controlled. Next up, Clinton Portis. If Young trusted the wrong people, you and I are about to see how Clinton Portis got robbed by predators, nearly ending in violence. For 9 thrilling seasons, Clinton Portis reigned as one of the most explosive running backs in the entire league. Star of the Broncos and Redskins. He racked up $43 million, looking absolutely electric on the field. He was completely unstoppable, building a career highlight reel that should have guaranteed comfortable retirement for decades. Instead, he trusted financial advisors Jeff Rubin and Janesh Brahmat, both officially registered with the league's own player association. They had the right credentials, looked completely legit, and then systematically bled him dry. Reports show that those advisors, along with a third partner, pocketed at least $11 million of his hard-earned money. Shockingly, 2 of them had roots at Stratton Oakmont, the notorious brokerage from the movie Wolf of Wall Street. And those were the exact men Portis trusted with his fortune. Portis even discovered an advisor took a $500,000 loan against his mother's house, a property he paid for in cash, forged under his name without him ever knowing. Records show Portis owed $412,000 in support to 4 women, $390,000 to the IRS, massive casino debts, and $500,000 to his mother. He later admitted that at his absolute rock bottom, the anger toward the scammers was so intense he genuinely planned on killing them. A terrifying admission from a former league superstar. Ruin almost drove him to violence. Hit subscribe for more stories, as only thoughts of his sons kept him from pulling the trigger. In his bankruptcy files, his checking account held just $150. $150 out of $43 million. Portis later admitted, "The biggest regret is trusting people with my money." Now, he is coaching running backs at Delaware State University, a tough grind from rock bottom back to gridiron relevance. Terrell Owens. Let us talk about the absolute biggest number on this entire list. Because trust me, folks, we have not even scratched the surface yet. T.O. 6 Pro Bowls. Hall of Famer. One of the most electrifying wideouts in NFL history, earning $80 million in career salary and major endorsements. $80 million. 1,078 catches. 15,934 yards, and 153 touchdowns. Yet by 2011, it was completely gone. Football season is at a standstill, so I have no income at this point. None. T.O. testified in court that he had 0 monthly revenue against massive bills, begging for relief in 4 active child support cases. Court filings showed Owens paying nearly $60,000 a month to 4 different women, plus another $63,000 monthly to fund the homes they lived in. Legal documents confirmed he owed his ex-wife heavy child support. Let that sink in. $60,000 a month in child support, plus $63,000 more for mortgages, with 0 active income. To make matters worse, his personal mansion in Georgia hit foreclosure, forcing the superstar receiver to crash at his girlfriend's apartment in Los Angeles. Look at his Atlanta estate. He bought it for $3.9 million. only to unload it later for a mere $1.7 million. He also sank $2 million into an Alabama entertainment complex that went completely belly up. As for the financial managers who were supposed to protect his assets, let's hear what T.O. said. Talking to GQ magazine, he confessed, "I hate myself for letting this happen. I believe they had my back when they said, 'You take care of the football and we will do the rest.' And in the end, they basically just stole from me." Fast forward to 2025, and sources estimate Owens' total net worth sits at around $500,000, from $80 million down to $500,000. That is not a stumble, it is an absolute freefall. Today, Owens preaches financial literacy, warning rookies, "My advice to any fan or athlete out there, just do not live beyond your means. You have to play smart." Sadly, T.O. had to lose almost everything on his stat sheet to learn that lesson. 80 million gone. Now, Bernie Kosar. Next on our list is Bernie Kosar, a different breed of financial tragedy. This was not wild spending or bad managers. You and I are looking at a slow, painful collapse, fueled by family betrayal. For those who do not remember, Kosar was a legendary NFL quarterback who first put the Miami Hurricanes on the map, leading the squad to a national title in 1983. He played for Cleveland from 1985 to 1993, the Cowboys in 93, and Miami from 1994 to 1996. In Cleveland, he was not just a player, the man was an absolute folk hero, the franchise savior who nearly got them to the Super Bowl, whose name is still spoken with reverence across Ohio. After the 2008 crash, Kosar and his companies filed for bankruptcy on June 19, 2009, exposing $9.2 million in assets against $18.9 million in debt. His checking account held just $44. A guy who once held an ownership stake in an NHL franchise, reduced to a measly $44 to his name. He owed his ex-wife Babette $3,725,000, stemming from a bad loan to an Arena League team owner. He owed a bank over $9 million for failed real estate plays, while his own signature steakhouse went completely dark. The bankruptcy court in Florida eventually forced the case into a Chapter 7 liquidation process, meaning his assets were seized and auctioned off. But the ultimate blindside came from inside his own huddle. Kosar trusted his dad to protect his wealth, only to find out his own father had been draining the accounts behind his back. Then the 2008 crash demolished his real estate playbook, and a costly divorce took millions more. Everything collapsed simultaneously. Yet during the worst of the storm, Kosar told Cleveland radio, "I have tried to be generous with family, friends, and ex-teammates. I have tried to help people out and let people manage things for me. The money comes and goes, but God has blessed me with the ability to make it." Today, his net worth is reported at $100,000, from millions to just $100,000. A Cleveland sports icon forced to rebuild in his 60s. Next up is Travis Henry. If you and I thought the previous child support cases were wild, get ready, because this saga defies belief. Today, we're looking at former running back Travis Henry, who spent 7 seasons playing in the NFL. Back in 2001, the Buffalo Bills took him in the second round of the draft. Watch out! He pumps twice, then dumps it off to Henry. Travis Henry is inside the 5-yard line. He also played for the Titans and Broncos. After a Pro Bowl nod in 2002, his career looked solid, but his life was total chaos. He secured a massive $22.5 million free agent deal with the Denver Broncos, but Denver cut him after 1 year over failed drug tests. Before his career even crashed, massive child support payments were already drowning him. Reports showed he was too broke to afford his yearly child support, which was $170,000. While blowing $200,000 on jewelry that season, he fell way behind. The judges threw the book at him, and he landed in jail. Then, things got worse. Years after his release from Denver, federal agents busted him for his role in drug trafficking. Henry later admitted he made terrible choices, trusting shady people, buying luxury cars, and ignoring every single warning from the league. He later admitted, "I was acting like somebody who never had nothing." The guy who once laughed through the NFL financial seminar was now its ultimate cautionary tale. Here is the brutal math. A $22.5 million contract gone, 11 kids, a prison sentence, and $0. He hit rock bottom fast, and the collapse was total. It serves as a warning that no contract in the NFL, no matter how huge, can survive total chaos. Now let us look at Dermontti Dawson, where the numbers get insane. You and I are talking about an absolute Hall of Famer, a true legend for the Steelers, a franchise star whose bankruptcy papers showed a debt so massive it looked like a total typo. Dawson was a 7-time Pro Bowler and 3-time AFC Offensive Lineman of the Year. He anchored the Steelers line for over a decade, earning a spot in the Hall of Fame in 2012. a legendary career. After retiring in 2001, he poured his focus into major real estate ventures across Kentucky. The Hall of Famer explained that, while doing business in Kentucky should have been simple, constant conflicts with his partners made things messy. For a moment, it seemed like the perfect second act. Then, 2008 hit. Property values plummeted, loans defaulted, and his investments collapsed. His minority stakes in real estate deals left him with massive personal debt guarantees and absolutely zero control over his future. By 2010, the legend, who once made over $4 million a year, was drowning in $70 million of debt. $70 million. His bankruptcy listed just $1.4 million in assets, including a Rolex, a golf cart, and a piano, and even a $10 stake in his daughter's mixed-breed dog. Meanwhile, big banks and several development groups were chasing him down for millions in unpaid loans and legal judgments. To make matters worse, his son's college tuition was costing $3,500 a month. He eventually left Kentucky to rebuild his life, starting over in San Diego as a sales executive, going from $70 million in debt to starting over. At that stage, you aren't just rebuilding your bank account, you're rebuilding your entire identity. Next up, Rison. Let's examine a star who didn't need bad advice or a market crash to lose everything. He lit his own fortune on fire. Rison had 5 Pro Bowls, a Super Bowl ring, and was one of the most explosive wideouts of the 90s. He made over $20 million during his explosive career, but he spent every single penny, and then some. Rison blew through cash like the party would never end. He purchased 8 Ferraris, 34 Mercedes, 14 BMWs, and splashed over $1 million on jewelry alone. He rolled with a massive 40-person entourage, dropping tens of thousands at nightclubs in a single night, famously admitting, "Some guys had a gambling problem, I had a spending problem." He recalled coming home from clubs and passing out with $10,000 scattered on his floor, just cash scattered everywhere. Then came 1994. His girlfriend, Lisa Lopes from the group TLC, set his mansion ablaze during a massive fight. The house burned to the ground. Most guys would take that as a sign to slow down. But Rison kept going, maintaining the entourage and the fleet of cars. He kept handing cash to friends who never paid him back. By 2007, he filed for bankruptcy, crushed by debt and unpaid child support. He reportedly said, "When you have cash, you create debt." At one point, this guy owned more cars than a dealership. Today, you will find him coaching high school football, from Super Bowl rings and luxury cars to coaching teenagers under Friday night lights. That is a wild fall from grace. Mark Brunell. But trust me, there is more. Think losing $20 million is shocking? Try losing $50 million right after retiring. Mark Brunell played 19 seasons in the league, mostly leading the Jaguars, 3 Pro Bowls, multiple playoff runs, over $50 million in career earnings, and then within 1 year of retirement, every single cent vanished. The collapse was fueled by real estate ventures that got completely crushed in the 2007 housing market crash. He poured $11 million into luxury condos with former teammates through a company called Champion LLC. It went completely belly up when the property bubble burst. He lost another $9 million when his Whataburger franchises in Jacksonville went under. And then, there were personal loan guarantees and serious overspending that compounded everything on top of that. By 2010, while still technically holding a spot on the Jets roster, he filed bankruptcy, listing $5.5 million against $24.7 million in total debt. The filing triggered massive lawsuits, forcing him to sell his $9.5 million mansion. That is a home sold just to cover debts from a $50 million career. It does not make sense. He rebuilt his life the hard way, taking a $60,000 medical sales job before his playing days even ended. It is like he saw the crash coming. Eventually, he returned to the game, coaching quarterbacks for the Detroit Lions. Now let us look at the reality. This comeback had to start somewhere. Going from $50 million to $60,000 and clawing back? The recovery is real, but the road was brutal. As commentators, we have to ask, which story shocked you most? Was it Kevin Johnson in that Los Angeles encampment? Terrell Owens burning through $80 million? Or Dawson racking up $70 million in debt? Tell us what you think in the comments below. And before you go, hit that like button and subscribe to NFL Rivals so you never miss our next breakdown.